Episode 1, here we go, Sonic Combinator. We got Robert Towner over here. Robert, you're selling a course on Udemy. I looked it up just before we jumped in. There's 250,000 courses on Udemy alone.
Yeah.
When do I feel like I'm prepared to actually start executing? I'm just buying these courses, buying them. When do I actually go and start like performing? What do you say to those people?
That journey never ends, but
Yeah.
we got to be strategic about that path. And you're absolutely right. There's so many courses out there, so many people with their platforms and their processes and things. And when you go to platforms like Udemy or Teachable or any of those, Kajabi, right? The overwhelm for somebody like me anyways, I get on there and it's like, where do I even start? Right?
Yeah.
Because there's so much. And to that, I say, what is your goal? If you're going to learn something, or if you're going to read a book, you're going to take a course, first decide, what is it that I want out of this? What is the end goal? Because if we're just picking up a book or a course to passively pass the time and learn something, then that's fine if that's the goal. But if you want to learn sales, if you want to learn marketing, if you want to learn art, right? Drawing, painting, it doesn't matter what it is. Then what is the goal for learning that, right? Do I want to learn art so that I can be a master at this particular technique? Do I want to learn marketing so that I can reach the most people possible with the best messaging possible? Or do I want to learn, in my case, sales so that I can be the best sales professional possible? Okay, so now I've dialed it in. I want to learn sales.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look for courses on there specifically for sales, and I'm going to look for things that are going to answer the next question. What do I want to learn in sales, right? Do I want to learn prospecting? Do I want to learn follow-up? Do I want to learn objection handling? There's a million great courses out there. There's tons and tons of great people teaching courses, but is the course the end all be all?
No.
My video just...
You kind of froze a little bit there.
Okay.
The course
Am I-
alone is not the end all be all. I'll give you that for sure. And I like where you're going with that. If you're a new entrepreneur, you need to focus on what that end result is. What is the light at the end of the tunnel? Where do you want to be? The milestone, right? Where do you want to be in 2-3 years? If you know where you want to be, then you can start identifying the tasks that are going to be required in order to achieve that objective. And one of those tasks could very well be a course like in sales. And I imagine your course is around sales or like within sales, that department.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Right. If your course is about sales, and let's say new entrepreneur decided, okay, I need this course. What is it going to teach them? And why is it valuable?
Yeah. So once you get it dialed in, what do I want to learn? What is it that my focus is, right? What do I want out of this? The answer for my course is to build a foundation that is sustainable long-term. Is not just, if you want to just go out and make a quick buck in sales, anybody can do that. Is it ethical? Is it sustainable? Is it right? There's a lot of nuance and a lot of questions to answer there. The most successful salespeople that I've met, taught, coached, there's something deeper, and that's the foundation of why they're doing what they're doing. So somebody asked me this actually this morning, what makes Accelerate Sales different? And the difference is we're not focused on just the skills and techniques, the mechanics of a sales process or a sales technique. We're focused on building true relationships that take a buyer, a prospect from A to Z in a way that empowers them to want to make a purchase that they need, want, or desire. So you can go out and you can learn sales techniques that drive somebody to make a decision and sell them something they don't need, want, or desire. Really the power of sales,
The whole
right?
sell ice to an Eskimo, right?
And does an Eskimo need ice? No.
But you
Do
need
they
this
need a
one.
heater?
This one's gonna make you feel amazing. You're gonna feel so proud of yourself if you buy this particular ice cube. $9.99. Limited time offer.
Yeah. So with Accelerate Sales, my focus is really and mission is to change the world's perception of what it means to be a salesperson. And how do we do that, right? I truly believe it just starts with a conversation, but that conversation is grounded in systems and processes to guide that individual, right? Not everybody knows why they need something. They need it, but they don't know that they need it, or they don't know why they need it. So let's break out the color crayons and draw a mental picture for them. Or even sometimes I've broken out the color crayons and drawn a real picture, right? What is it that they need? But it starts with a conversation. It starts with genuine curiosity, right? How can we serve? How can we help? And go through a line of questioning that draws out what their current problems, issues are. What is their future state, right? What are they looking to accomplish? What are their goals? And see if we have a product or service that aligns with that need that we can offer them. And so many people, we take a course and we learn this skill or technique and we go out, feel like everybody has to buy because I learned this and I need to use this skill. But it's a lot deeper than that, right? We got to build those relationships and build trust. And I don't know if it was Carnegie or Ziegler, one of the greats, right? It says, if enough people get what they want, ultimately we'll get what we want. And
well, let's say you've had this conversation with somebody, right? You're having a conversation. You're identifying their potential need, their problem.
yeah,
And where do you take it from there? Like, are you leaving this on them a little bit? Them self-identifying what their solution should be, and then you just happen to be there going, oh yeah, great, why don't you fix it for me, Rob? Or is it kind of like a coaching, or are you kind of like walking them along, kind of like a therapy session essentially, ultimately to pay by this course?
So let me see are you asking for somebody that's buying my course, or are you asking for what is the goal for the person selling their product or their service after learning this course?
Prior to buying your course. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say you're having a conversation. Walk me through a typical conversation you have when somebody is interested in having a conversation with you, and ultimately your goal is to sell them that course.
Okay. So really it starts with the line of questioning, right? What is it, Sonic, you're hoping to accomplish, right? So you've picked up the phone, you're calling in, you're like, hey, Robert, I heard you do sales training, heard you do sales coaching. What does that look like? And first off, what is your goal, right? What's important to you? And do we have something in alignment, right? If somebody's goal, and I've turned away possible clients, because they just want to learn how to close, right? So sometimes people call in, a lot of times, with their agenda, their goal, but it's not really what they're hoping to accomplish, right? So in this case, Madison calls in, she's like, hey, I heard you do coaching, sales training. I'm really struggling with X, Y, and Z, trying to get people on board, right? Can you teach me how to close? Well, her problem wasn't closing. And the only way to understand that is by going through the questioning to understand her process. Madison, walk me through what you're currently doing. Walk me through what that conversation looks like, and to get to that point where you're trying to close them. And so by understanding her process through those questions, uncover that she doesn't have a problem closing. She has a problem connecting. And so for me, as the sales trainer, as the sales coach, I have to practice the same techniques that I'm teaching, right? And the cool thing is, by taking somebody through this process that they're then going to learn, they see it in action in real life, and it works with them. So I actually passed on Madison. I'm like, Madison, I'm sorry, I don't think I can help you close. But if you want to start over here at communication and learning to authentically connect with somebody, we can start there. And that portion of that course.
Let me see if I got this straight. And so sometimes you'll have folks that come to you and say, hey, I know you're an expert in this field. Help me learn this one little thing. And you're like, hang on, you can't just take this one thing. It's not a la carte. You just pick it off the thing and then go
Yeah.
execute and you win. It's like, okay, well, that's a small piece in this larger puzzle. And so we have to sit down, we have to have a conversation. Let me, Robert, help you identify what are all the issues with your business, your sales strategy, the way you communicate, and then let's work on those specific areas together holistically. So ultimately, you
Yeah.
become a salesperson. I think it's important for people to know that you're not just another person that has this course out there. You have a ton of experience in this environment. You were telling me you have hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. You're the top salesman in your team for many years. Help the audience understand a little bit about your background, just so they know this is a legitimate master salesman we're talking about here.
Thank you. I tell people I've literally been in sales my whole life, and I think about the first thing that I sold, and it literally goes back to third grade. And we grew up poor, and mom didn't have any extra money for candy at the corner store. And I don't know where I got it, but you can mow a lawn or something, but I was too small, too young for that. I started selling things door to door between third and fourth grade, and I've been hooked ever since. From magazines in school, Candy Bar and Boy Scouts or what have you, the magic didn't start happening until the professional world, of course. I've been selling professionally for well over 20 years now at this point. Anything from retail to high-end security systems, chemicals was the biggest portion of that career. And always working with amazing people that I've been fortunate enough to learn from. And so really taking and surrounding myself with amazing men and women that are experts in their fields, right? And then really just soaking that all in. And when I started, there wasn't the access that we have now to the technology, right? Thousands of courses online. That wasn't accessible, right? We didn't have online things like that back then. So really, I just surrounded myself with books and people. And if there was a seminar that I could go to, then I would go and learn from amazing people for the last 20 plus years.
Nice. That's phenomenal. Do you have any success stories you can share back from industry or who you were working with before? Maybe you had a success story of an entrepreneur that took your course or took your advice or worked with you that was vastly successful. Who would you point to?
Yeah, man, one person, many people come to mind on that. So I mentioned Madison a little bit ago. One gentleman that I've really been honored to work with for a number of years is Darnell. We worked together at the same company, and he wanted to move into sales. He came from a service industry background, customer service, public facing, but no formal sales training, no formal sales background. And working with Darnell, to put things in context, for a sales professional to really find their stride and find their groove, it can take a couple years. So 2 to 5 years is not unheard of for somebody to really get comfortable and find their groove, start really making some steady income, right? Because with starting sales, you got this roller coaster of feast or famine, highs and lows, and it takes a while to master that curve so it's a lot more stable. And working with Darnell, first off, he was the type of person you share something with him and he'll go out and apply it. He doesn't think about it. He just goes out and he applies it, and then he sees it work, and then he does it again and again. And
you gotta try it. Go out there, run into a wall, fail miserably, get back up, say, okay, next time I'm not gonna run into that wall, start running down this time. And the more you execute, the better you can get back together, adjust. It's like the observe, orient, decide, act over and over again. And the quicker you do that, the better you get better, you evolve.
Yeah. So he went from really very little, he had sales experience, he had customer service experience, right? And he made President's Club his first year, which is no small feat.
What is that, like a sales award or something?
Yeah. So a lot of companies have what we call President's Club, and President's Club is a yearly incentive where the company, if you make your quota, you make your goals, the company will treat you to a trip to a really cool resort. And it's usually a mix of business and pleasure, right? So you take your significant other, your husband, your wife, your partner, and you get to go on this amazing trip. Some companies include family, kids, but I think most companies don't. But you win this trip, right? And it's so cool that you get to go and then surround yourself with everybody that's at the top of their game, the owners of the company, usually the senior management, and you have a really great time and you celebrate everybody's success. And it's so cool. And it's one of those things where you get the jacket, you get the shirt, you get the trophy, right?
He comes strutting back on Monday, like, I just had dinner with the boss, no big deal. Okay, so let's talk numbers, okay, specifics. How long is your course? How much does it cost? And then how do people sign up?
The course is really designed as a 90-day foundation building where we're going to go through every week, learn a new foundational skill that we can build on the next week, and then build on that the next week and keep adding to it. So over 90 days, you're going to go from never making a cold call to building solid referral relationships that create recurring revenue, right?
Okay, so there's no prerequisites at all. You could be a 21-year-old coming out of college or in college, jump in this course day one.
Yeah, and that's my passion, is serving the young men and women starting out. The old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's BS, because you can. So I have plenty of clients that are in their 40s or 30s, young men and women starting out that maybe don't have access to high quality training, high quality coaching, where they can hop on this course for $3,000 and it's literally packed with tens of thousands of dollars of value that is not just a marketing number. When I sell these individually as components, it's tens of thousands of dollars. So how do we get that information into somebody that's just starting out, right?
Yeah.
With the platforms that we have available to us now, I've created this amazing course. They can go from zero to hero in 90 days in a group setting, surrounded by peers from all industries, all walks of life, learning from not just me, but learning from each other in a way that is just super, super powerful.
Let's just take a second to appreciate the mastery of salesman that is Robert. I asked you how much the course costs, and you didn't answer like, oh, it's $3,000. It's more like you explaining it and saying, this course, you can jump in. For $3,000, you can master all of these things and the value that you get out of it. So it's like, very subtly, you explain exactly what the answer was. You didn't shy away from it. But then at the same time, you're showcasing all of the value you get out of this course. So that alone, I think, is pretty evident that you know what you're talking about. How do people sign up for your course?
Yeah, for getting started, probably the fastest way to get a hold of me is on LinkedIn, and just head over to LinkedIn, Robert Towner, LinkedIn-Robert Towner.
I know.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah,
remembering the actual links, not my suit. But acceleratesales.com and LinkedIn. The course itself, we're launching this week a brand new 14-day sprint to get young men and women of all industries, all walks of life started. And we'll have a direct link for the course specifically that you can include in the show notes for your audience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad we jumped on at the right time. So you got this campaign push, 14 days. Folks can go to acceleratesales.com. We'll also have a link in the description, rather. Is it self-paced? Can we just jump in anytime we want?
So great question. And the short answer is we're going to do a cohort every 90 days, and seats are limited.
Oh,
the idea to teach 100 people in one setting, somebody's getting left out, right? So how can we get the most impact with the most people in the 90-day window? And that is keeping those groups between 15 and 20 people for maximum impact, where I can spend time with each of them during those 90 days, as well as those weekly group calls and sessions. So the first one will start in quarter four,
October 1st?
Yeah, October 1st. We're going to start this one in the second week of September.
Okay. So let's say like September 15th.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So today is August 19th. Folks have about a month, 4 weeks, let's say, to get on this basically. Okay, sounds good. I think that's phenomenal. I think your background is awesome. Sounds like this course is going to be a hit. 90 days, somebody needs to be dedicated. Like this is skin in the game. You are serious. You are here to show up week after week. And then on the tail end, you get a certification. What do you get at the end?
Yeah, absolutely. Certification is certainly a part of this. When I get a plaque, when I get a certification, it's going up on the wall, right? And
Oh yeah.
I want to share that. It's not, I don't have any here because I just renovated this office and it's still pretty bare, but that certification, something to be proud of. But more than that, depending on your level of engagement, right? And how much you want to put into it, there's going to be plenty beyond that 90 days. First off, the community is lifetime, right? You get that access to that community for forever. And within that community, you're going to have the course that is designed also to be self-paced. So you can do it by yourself, right? So you're going to go through the 90-day intensive with me. And then at the end of that 90 days, you still have the full curriculum, the full course, and all the material that 6 months down the road, you want to revisit step 6 or step 4, right? You can just hop back into the community, hop back into pull up your course, review. So there's lots of opportunity for continued growth and education. And then any updates and additions to the course that get added, you'll get access to those before anybody else.
That's really the key that you hit on right there was the community that comes out of this. And that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons that, I'm also building the school community on the side where folks can just show up and everybody is like-minded. They're starting a business, right? And they might have questions about sales. Like, hey, I tried this technique, it didn't really work. I need some feedback. Or hey, I recorded my session. Can somebody listen in and give me some feedback? And all of that is free. And that's really the value. You go through this course, 90-day boot camp, right? You're probably getting a ton of information, but you can always return back to that same community. And heck, you might find lifelong partnerships in there,
Oh,
friends,
yeah.
to launch businesses together. There's so much opportunity when you start connecting with people on a genuine level.
Absolutely. I think community is, we're social creatures, right? And the unfortunate thing with modern technology right now is that although we have access to everything so immediately, it also tends to separate us, right? Because we don't have to go knock on somebody's door to visit them. We can just pick up the cell phone or text is great and amazing. We're missing that community aspect in a lot of areas. And so by focusing heavily on the community aspect where we can bring people together, like you said, you're going to build lifelong friendships, partnerships. People are going to start businesses together. It's really an amazing time for business, for life, for people.
I think so. And there's so many business opportunities out there, especially with artificial intelligence. How do you actually talk to somebody? Because if you want to run a business, I don't care what kind of business it is, you better be good at sales. Else everything else is going to suffer. AI can only do so much for you right now. Maybe next year, a little bit better. But for now, you want to jump on this course. Well, thank you very much, Robert. Really appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Really looking forward to this course. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Awesome.
you.
Thanks.